In this modern age, we can theorize what makes a strong person. We can discuss which muscles have the biggest impact on overall strength and being physically useful outside of the gym, but the truth is, most of us today will never actually put those theories to the test. Most of us live very sedentary lives, and the only hard physical activity we do is in a controlled gym environment, lifting strength training equipment designed to be lifted. From this point of view, the biceps are pretty insignificant. From this point of view, it's easy to say the back and legs are what makes a strong individual, and that the biceps are purely cosmetic. It's easy to think this way when you train in a modern gym. The back and legs are usually associated with heavy movements like squats or deadlifts, and the biceps are usually trained in isolation. Owing in large part to the narrow, streamlined shape of modern barbells, there's very little need for strong, well-built biceps at all when doing heavy strength-based exercises in the gym. At an elite level, developed biceps might actually hinder performance when working towards something like a heavy barbell clean, as an example. This is not anything like how it actually works outside the gym. When working with awkward, natural objects, there is no perfect lifting technique. Maneuvering heavy things that weren't mass-produced in factories with your comfort in mind doesn't always go as planned. In fact, you can count on it not to. When working with this stuff, you're often forced to compensate for less than optimal lifting positions with a great deal of extra bicep involvement. All this extra work for the biceps, experienced on a regular basis, leads to a type of rugged upper arm strength only seen today in a select few. In the relatively sudden shift away from lives of hard manual labor lived close to the land, wherein strength was an integral part of everyday existence, to lives of extreme comfort where the pursuit of strength is a fringe hobby and even the ground you walk on is artificial and flat, the need for strong and tough biceps has all but gone away. Lifting heavy sandbags is a return to strength in its most natural form and acts as a wake-up call. Natural stones would be even better, but most of us don't have regular access to natural stones anymore, so sandbags, or artificial stones, are a good compromise. Going back to the idea that the back and the legs are what makes a strong person, in isolation, these things can be incredibly powerful. There's no denying their raw potential, but in the natural world, there is no isolation. When interacting with heavy and awkward, oddly shaped things in natural places far removed from the world of tailor-made human convenience, you'll only ever be as strong as your weakest part. This is one of the main benefits to training with sandbags as opposed to other things. Weak links in the chain will not be tolerated. Therefore, every inch of your body must become strong. The weakest link in the chain for most gym-trained individuals who get into sandbag lifting is the biceps. Yes, many lifters will have aesthetically pleasing upper arms, but the strength is rarely there. For even the strongest barbell enthusiast, there's likely to be a relative bicep weakness, and this is a big problem because it doesn't matter how much you can squat or deadlift with a perfectly balanced barbell. If your arms aren't strong enough to keep hold of a sandbag, you won't be doing anything meaningful with it. In this way, the biceps shed the mantle of cosmetic beach muscle and take on a role of importance equal to that of the large powerhouse muscles that are the legs and the back. Realistically, sandbags alone can't prepare your arms for every possible life scenario. There are far too many specific circumstances requiring specific strengths for that to ever be true, but they can prepare you for most things. This is largely due to how sandbags train the arms. In addition to pure concentric lifting, like you'd get when doing a barbell curl, sandbags force the biceps to become strong isometrically and develop elite starting strength from every awkward angle you can imagine as well. It's also worth noting that during the course of a sandbag lifting day, you'll work the upper arms from every position: overhand, neutral, underhand, and every angle in between. This leads to complete development of all three of the main elbow flexors: the biceps brachii, the brachioradialis, and the brachialis. Combine all of these things together, and it becomes clear why heavy sandbags build such strong and functional arms. Imagine, once you become strong enough and the sandbags you're lifting become bulky enough, you'll be forced to do a type of neutral grip row to clear the knees every time you lift it from the ground. This builds concentric lifting strength in the upper arms. Every set of rows does the same, even allowing for some eccentric loading if you lower the sandbag under control between reps. Once the sandbag clears the knees, the arms work to push and pull it into a suitable position on the lap, be it vertical or horizontal. Even more so if you're trying to flip the sandbag from one position to the other. From the lap, bicep involvement changes depending on how you lift the sandbag. Double overhand, hands out to the sides, over-under, bear hug. When you carry a sandbag, the arms work isometrically to keep it held close to the body, and the further you carry it, the further it slips downwards, which means grip position and elbow angle must constantly shift and adapt with every step. When going for a shoulder attempt, the arms assist in the lift by again pushing and pulling from different angles on the way up. These sudden bursts of power from awkward positions builds a very high level of starting strength. You might compare this idea with a martial artist who's trained themselves for the 1-inch punch. To generate enough power fast enough, the fighter needs elite starting strength, or you might say starting power in that end range position. They need the ability to turn on everything to its max level almost instantaneously. Maneuvering a heavy sandbag up to the shoulder forces the arms to work in a similar way, to react quickly and powerfully, no matter how awkward the required arm position may be. Lots of isometrics from every possible angle, pushing and pulling from every awkward position, concentric lifting and stabilizing with both small and large ranges of motion, high intensity and high volume. It should be no surprise that sandbags build such incredible arm strength. One thing you may have noticed when hearing all these examples is that while sandbags do build solid end-range arm strength, they specialize in the mid-range, in that bent arm position. This specialization actually makes this form of training even more valuable for real-world situations. We can argue that most things you do outside of a gym setting will be done with bent arms. Pulling weeds, carrying logs, picking up and carrying an injured person to safety, rowing a boat, climbing a tree, scaling a wall, dragging something tied with a rope, or playing tug of war with that rope because it's fun. All of these things are done intuitively with bent arms. If you need to pick up something heavy off the ground, you may start with your elbows locked out, but once you have it up to knee or waist height, you'll most likely switch again to a bent arm position. Max strength and power and leverage advantage aside though, much of this comes down to plain old efficiency. In the gym, we often put ourselves into the most disadvantageous positions as a way to build strength and muscle through a full range of motion. This is an intelligent and effective way to do things in the gym, but outside of it, we usually try our best to make things easier on ourselves rather than intentionally more difficult, because whatever it is we're doing will usually need to be done many more times again, and less energy used means more work completed. Coming full circle, even if the majority of your strength does in fact come from the back and legs, the biceps play a vital role in realizing that strength, and developing them will make you a more functional and useful person in any scenario where strength and durability are required. Sandbags will get you there.